Hello Truck Central, I'm Robert Dunn of Aging Wheels fame, unless you've never heard of me, in which case I'm no one. I normally enjoy weird cars, building things, and long walks on the beach, but today I'm here to show you my homemade truck camper project. The reason we're standing this far away from it is this is just about as far away as you need to be in order for it to look good. Once you get closer, it doesn't look so good anymore. But that's okay, I never claimed to be a designer. See this white stripe here? This white stripe represents the pinnacle of my design abilities. I got this beautiful curve here by tracing the bottom of a bucket. Unlike most designers, my design tools can also be used to carry water. Now about the camper. First let me tell you what this thing is made of. The frame consists entirely of welded 1-inch square steel tubing. Bolted to that on the exterior underside is 1/2-inch treated plywood coated in a thick layer of spray-on truck bed liner. The roof and wind deflector are your garden variety steel roofing panels. The back wall is PVC coated aluminum trim coil that's all warped and ugly looking. The side walls, because I guess I was tired of using heavy materials, are made of foam board, 1-inch thick foam board insulation that's glued and screwed to the frame and then coated in a layer of fiberglass. And then a layer of paint over top of that, obviously. And finally, the entire camper is insulated with a 1-inch thick layer of foam board insulation, except for the sidewalls, which have 2 inches because that's what the sidewalls are made of. The exterior doesn't have a ton of features, but I'll go over what's there. To start with, there's a pop-up vent on each side right next to the bed, which gives excellent cross ventilation over the bed when combined with the fan that's mounted on the back wall. As I mentioned earlier, these sidewalls are made of 1-inch thick foam board coated in a thin layer of fiberglass. This means I can't really mount anything to it, so these pop-up vents are mounted to wood inserts that you can probably see through the paint because I'm garbage at finish work. These are windows. On the back wall there are 3 features. This is the vent fan. It's mounted on the back wall here because the roof is corrugated, which is not conducive to mounting things in a flush-like manner. This is the air conditioner, although it might as well be a wall-mounted brick because I have never used it. This thing draws 600 watts. I only have 1.2 kilowatt hours of battery storage on board, and because it's lead-acid battery storage, I can only use half of that. So after an hour of my air conditioner being on, my battery is dead and I can't use it for anything else. This is a door. Before I show you inside the camper, let me answer 2 commonly asked questions. How do I get this in my pickup and how do I strap it down? Well, the first one is extremely easy to answer. I have a lift, so I never devised any sort of camper lift jacking system. The second question is a little more fun. I didn't want any external tie downs to ruin these perfect homemade garden shed looks, so it's tied down inside the bed. But how do you get to those tie downs, I hear you asking? Well, it's simple. There are 4 access hatches inside that allow me to have access to the ratchet straps that hold down the camper to the bed. I'm just strapping the camper down using the 4 in-bed tie downs that came from the factory right now, but I've been advised to make a sturdier anchor to hold the camper in place. I just haven't done it yet. If I'm being honest, I probably never will. And while I'm on the subject of hatches, I rigged up this cable release to the tailgate here in the event that someone of the juvenile persuasion closes the tailgate on me while I'm inside the camper. I can just reach through the hatch that's right here and pull this cable release on the tailgate to get out. It's much better than my previous strategy, which was to order a pizza and give really good delivery instructions. Now let's go inside the camper. Here's a badly shot tour of the interior covered in royalty-free music. I'll begin explanations with the electricals. Up top I have 2 100-watt solar panels to feed charge to the battery. In fact, that is the only system I have in place to charge the battery. This wall here is the control panel. This gives me quick access to the charge controller, an AC outlet, the power switch for the inverter, and the 12-volt and USB power outlets just around the corner. The 1000-watt inverter, 100 amp hour AGM battery, and fuse panel all live under this bench seat. Also stored under here is the water tank, water pump, and the toilet that I placed conveniently in a sliding drawer so I can pretend I'm pooping in a cabinet. And speaking of the water pump, that feeds the sink right over here, and that sink drains to an easily removable gray tank just below it. There's 3 lights in here. There's the daylight bright LED strip running the length of the ceiling, controlled by a light switch on the wall. And if that's too much bright for you, there's a warm color reading light on either side of the bed. This seems to be flowing quite well now, so I'm going to talk about the bed. As you might be able to guess, it's where I sleep. But I didn't sleep too well the first night I spent up here because I didn't quite make this cab over section big enough, and I refused to buy a thinner mattress, so I came up with a solution. I added this plank that rests on the wall supports and allows me to pull the mattress away from the bulkhead just enough to not be sleeping against it. I'd rather extend the cab over section, but I've already done that once and the plank is much easier. For storage, I have these tall cabinets on the right side of the camper with some very shoddily cut shelves in them. There's also a small amount of storage in the under sink cabinet area, although half of that has no floor because it empties down to the gray tank just below the sink. Most of the interior is plywood covered in vinyl wrap, carpet, or paint. The ceiling and sink walls are fiberglass reinforced plastic panels. This is my heater, and no, there is no shower. If you're wondering what it's like to drive my F-150 with a garden shed sitting on its back, well, it's not good. This thing is a massive sail and it weighs roughly 1,200 pounds. I compensated for the weight with airbags and better tires, but there's no ignoring the brick-esque aerodynamics. It's horrible to drive normally, but God forbid you get behind a semi or encounter a slight breeze. So that is, or was, a brief overview of my homemade truck camper. For more information, i.e. me shouting facts at the camera, head over to my channel at Aging Wheels, where I've made a 5-part series detailing why you should probably just buy a used truck camper off Craigslist instead of building your own. Adios.